The Acolyte episode 5 is better than episodes 1 to 4, but then again, so is slamming your hand in the car door. Episode 5, like episode 4, is really short, only stuff actually does happen in this episode, mainly characters getting offed left and right. The entire episode is basically one long fight scene between the Jedi and Smilo Ren, with some asides between May and Osha. The Jedi who don't have speaking roles, they're like Star Trek red shirts. You just know they're gonna get killed, and they do. But so does Jeki, the Padawan, and so does Yorn, the guy who's played by Mr. Anakin blew up the Death Star.
But if you can't look and see the Anakin blowing up the Death Star...
And he has a pretty violent death, too. I mean, Smilo Ren snaps his neck. Of all the Jedi besides Master Soul, who winds up being the sole survivor of the Jedi in this fight, pun very much intended, Jeki puts up the best fight against Smilo Ren, and I don't buy that one bit. I don't buy that this Danny DeVito-sized Padawan did better against a Sith than all these more experienced Jedi Knights. I just don't buy it. Oh, and remember how Ki-Adi-Mundi was in the last episode, even though he shouldn't be alive during this time period, and how his presence in this time period makes this quote from The Phantom Menace a complete fucking lie?
Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
Yeah, well, anyone who was shilling for this show by saying that Smilo Ren might not technically be a Sith, well, surprise, surprise, he is. Smilo Ren's identity gets revealed in this episode, and yeah, it's Asian Ezra Miller. I think most people thought that that's who it was going to be because this show pretty clearly telegraphs that Asian Ezra Miller is the Sith, so this episode doesn't throw you any curves on that one. Before Smilo Ren's identity gets revealed, Master Soul asks him who he is, to which Smilo Ren says, "You don't remember me." And then after the mask comes off, Master Soul looks kind of pained, as if maybe the two have some shared history. I don't know. I mean, they are both Asians, so maybe there's some family drama there or something. One good thing that I will say about this episode is that Asian Ezra Miller, his name's actually Manny Jacinto, he's actually a pretty good actor. He manages to come across as threatening and intimidating in this episode, and he acts completely differently than the bumbling fool act that he was putting on in episodes 1 to 4. But unfortunately, his efforts are wasted on this show. The Soul versus Smilo Ren fight ends with Osha taking her little pip droid, lighting it up and sticking it to Smilo Ren's back. Then these flying roly-poly bug things that were introduced in the last episode that are attracted to light descend upon Smilo Ren, pick him up, and carry him off. He doesn't die, though. May then blasts Soul with his stun gun, knocks him out, and then Osha goes after May. And then when the two come face to face, May tries to manipulate some sort of reconciliation out of her sister, but Osha is adamant that May pay for what she's done. The twins get into a fight, and then May force pushes Osha, knocking her out. Then, now, this is just stupid, May picks up one of the fallen Jedi's lightsabers and uses it to cut her hair extensions so she now looks like Osha. It's heavily implied that she switches clothes with Osha, goes back to Master Soul, pretending to be her sister, and Master Soul buys it. Meanwhile, Osha is still knocked out, but she's now wearing May's clothes, and then the episode ends with Smilo Ren finding her and looking after her. I greatly admire Lee Zhongjae's efforts to play Master Soul. I mean, the guy learned English to play this part, so mad respect there, but the writers made his character so damn stupid. I do not buy for a microsecond that a Jedi Master would not have the intuition and sense to figure out in a heartbeat that May, with her freshly singed hair, by the way, is not Osha. And I also don't buy that Smilo Ren, this powerful Force user who was smart enough to conceal his identity for this long, doesn't have the brains to figure out that the girl on the ground is not May. So the Acolyte episode 5 is the best episode so far, I guess, but who gives a shit? I mean, the sheer crawl out of your skin awfulness of what led up to this point means that this show cannot be fully redeemed by the time it wraps up. It's just not possible. So there's no hope for the rest of this show. In fact, I'll be hoping for another cringy diss track from Amanda Stenberg before I even begin to hope that this show sticks the landing. Copyright claim me. I dare ya. So that about wraps it up. I'm Grega, and y'all look after yourselves. Cheers.